Y'all tuned into the motherfucking greatest. Turn the music up in the headphones. Tim, you can go and brush your shoulders off, nigga.
Hello, my fellow Kryptonians. Welcome. This is Superfan, or Superfan K, as some of you may know me. Welcome to the spoiler edition and the first official / unofficial / technically it is, technically it isn't video of the Superfan Show. For anybody that doesn't know, the Superfan Show is something that I'm promoting, something that I'm doing. I'm very passionate about it. This is the first episode of that, so welcome. Glad you're here. First of all, 3 things. Number 1, yes, I acknowledge the cape is ridiculous. It's staying on. I'm not taking it off. And you can tell I'm a huge Superman fan. That's just the way this video is going to go, so deal with it. Number 2, if you have not seen Captain America Civil War, I suggest you leave, go see it, and then come back and watch this video and talk to me about it. You know, that's the way it should be. I'm going to be talking spoilers heavy. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff I liked, stuff I didn't like. So if you have not seen the movie, I suggest you turn away immediately and just go somewhere. Just leave. Leave. Go see the movie. Seriously, why haven't you seen it yet, though? I mean, that's... Yeah, sure, whatever. Just go see the movie, okay? And number 3, nothing. Let me talk about why I think this is one of the best comic book movies ever made. For someone like me who loves Winter Soldier as much as I did, and it's on my top 10 comic book movies of all time list, I had high expectations for this shit. And the one thing that I was the most excited / scared about was Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I know that seems kind of contradictory, seeing as how I have a Superman hat on and a Superman necklace and a Superman shirt and a big Superman cape. But I'm a big Spider-Man fan too. I just don't have my Spider-Man gear out here right now, alright? Don't judge me. Either way, big Spider-Man fan since I was a kid. Read his comics, loved the 90s TV show, loved the first 2 Spider-Man movies, fuck Spider-Man 3. And I was really excited to see Spider-Man in this movie. You know, it's been a while since I've seen Spidey in a very good movie. He was the part of the movie that I was the most excited about, the most nervous about too. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Tom Holland as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, he was one of my favorite things about the movie. From the moment that Queens shows up on the screen in these really overly large, unnecessary letters, I don't know why they did that, but as soon as it showed up, I got really excited because I was like, oh, we're going to get introduced to the Spider-Man. Tony has to go recruit Spider-Man because he has to go bring in Cap and Bucky and Falcon because they escaped during this big skirmish earlier, and now General Mustache... I'm going to keep calling him General Mustache throughout this video because I can't remember his name. He says, hey, you have 36 hours to go get them, otherwise all of you are in trouble or something. Or maybe we're just going to go get them and shoot them or something. It's not made clear why they have exactly 36 hours, but movie. Tony Stark goes to Queens where apparently he's heard about this kid who is Spider-Man. And Tom Holland, as soon as he shows up, I'm just like, man, he's shy, he's nerdy, he's unassuming, he's kind of awkward. He's like, hey, man, what's going on with you? You know, like he's stumbling over his words. You can tell he's fanboying out a little bit because this is Iron Man, right? And then I love the fact that Iron Man goes to his room and, you know, there was a really funny part where he tries to hide the Spider-Man suit from him. I like the fact that the Spider-Man suit looked like a piece of shit. It looked like something that a 15-year-old with very limited resources and not a huge budget would create. I mean, his room doesn't look that, you know, it's kind of weird because the rest of the apartment looks spick and span gorgeous, as well as his aunt. But his room just kind of looks normal, which is kind of weird, but his suit looks like a piece of shit, and I love that. And then Iron Man's like, hey, you need to get an upgrade, man, so we're going to take care of you. Then, at the airport scene, Spider-Man shows up and he's in his upgraded suit and it's fucking awesome and I loved it. And be honest, you loved it too. And Spider-Man, he kicks ass on that part, alright? He was one of my favorite things about that part, seriously. He basically kicked Bucky and Falcon's ass at the same time, but he was Spider-Man the whole time. You know, one of the best things about Spider-Man is he talks. He loves to talk during his fights. He loves to joke around. This Spider-Man felt like a 15-year-old kid who got dragged into a situation with other heroes. It was awesome. It was amazing. I loved it. You loved it. All right, that's why we're here talking about it today. So Spider-Man, big shout out to him. I'm really excited to see where his movie goes. There's supposed to be a solo Spider-Man movie next year called Spider-Man Homecoming. Iron Man is confirmed to be in it. I have no idea what that means or if they're going to adopt the comic storyline from 1984. called Spider-Man Homecoming. No idea, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. There is a post-credit scene in this movie where Spider-Man, it's kind of funny. Aunt May comes in and she thinks he got into a fight with somebody, and he's like, he has something in his web shooter and it shoots this graphic at the ceiling and it's just this big ass Spider-Man logo. For anybody who stayed after and were expecting like a big Easter egg for Infinity War or something, I can understand why you'd be upset. But for me, I was just kind of like, cool, more Spider-Man. Another person I want to give a shout out to in this movie is Black Panther. Black Panther is played by Chadwick Boseman in this movie. That guy from that irrelevant Jackie Robinson movie a few years ago. He was great in this role. He plays the son of T'Chaka. T'Chaka is the king of Wakanda. They're involved in this big country, like worldwide country summit where they're voting on these accords. They're called the Sokovian Accords, and they're supposed to put the heroes in check. They're supposed to like make sure that the heroes aren't going off and knocking buildings on, young MIT graduates and stuff like that. And Black Panther, he's the son of the king. But when the king dies in a bombing orchestrated by this little weasel fucker named Zemo, he has to become Black Panther. All right, T'Challa has to become the king of Wakanda, and he has to become Black Panther. And I love immediately his presence in this movie. Like he plays it with this kind of cerebral rage, if that's even a thing, like this royalty. He really feels like royalty. And he's not like the other Marvel characters. A lot of the other Marvel characters, they have senses of humor, they have jokes, they have things that they like to do. This guy, he's really serious, honestly. He's got a lot of heart to his character, but he's like, no, I'm not going to do none of that stupid joke, quippy shit, Marvel. I'm not doing it. I am the Batman of this universe. Batman of the other universe wouldn't say a whole bunch of stupid jokes and stupid quips while a battle is going on, so that it completely takes the tension out of the way. Hold up, Hannibal. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Either way, Black Panther, from the moment he showed up in this movie, kicked ass. And I challenge anybody out there who says that he didn't. Looking forward to his movie too. I also love the mid-credit scene with him and Cap, where basically at the end of this movie, Bucky, because he doesn't have an arm and because he can't trust his head, he's like, hey, man, the Super Soldier / Winter Soldier program where they programmed my head, and there's this code that they can use to kind of bring out that inner assassin in me. I can't trust that that's not going to happen anymore, so I need to go away. So he decides to go back into cryo sleep, and he decides to, Captain America enlists the help of Black Panther to do that. So he takes Bucky to Wakanda, and he gets frozen in cryo sleep, in his little hyperbolic time chamber in Wakanda. I love that moment where Cap is like, hey, if they find out that he's here, they're going to come after him. And Black Panther's like, and? I don't give a fuck. Let them come. I'm Black Panther. They're not going to make it past those gates, okay? This is what being a king is all about. I love that shit. There's a lot of elements to this movie overall that I love. Those are the two main elements I love, Black Panther and Spider-Man. I love the mature elements to this movie. The first half of this movie felt a little bit more intellectual than your typical Marvel movie. Let's face it, out of the majority of the Marvel movies, they're all fun, they're all entertaining, but how many of them are great enough to the point where they make us think, where they make us actually get invested, like, mentally, like, in the movie, like, thought-provoking type shit? Not really a lot of them, if you're honest. They're kind of all a clear-cut good versus evil type thing, or there's some MacGuffin, or somebody, died or wants revenge or something like that. And this one, they really do present this issue as being equal. Like, like, for anybody who walked into this movie Team Cap, or who walked in Team Iron Man, if you did not flip-flop or change sides throughout the movie and go, oh, well, they have a good point. No, they have a really good point. You're lying out your fucking asshole, okay? You're lying. I did. I was Team Spider-Man. I didn't really give a shit either way because, I'm Team I came into the movie and I was like, man, I can really see both guys' point of view. That's really awesome. I like the fact that they presented it that way. This all stems from this big incident in the beginning of the movie where they're tracking down Rumlow. If you guys don't know who Rumlow is, he is Crossbones. He was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He and his men are trying to get some biological weapon or some shit. The Avengers are there to stop them. And Captain America kicks Rumlow's ass in a brilliant scene of hand-to-hand fighting. But then he's about to blow himself up. And right before he's about to blow himself up, Wanda comes in there and saves the day by shooting it into the sky, and it blows up a building. Seriously, she kills... It's unintentional casualties, of course, but there's a lot of people that died on that part. So, Yeah, immediately the Avengers are getting caught into this like worldwide issue where all these countries are going, no, 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 we're not going to tolerate that. General Mustache is like, you guys have operated for a long time without any like supervision or control. That changes, okay? We're going to change that. And they set about doing it. They create these accords. Some people sign it, some people don't. One thing I did think was weird about the movie is that Wanda, she was involved in this big incident at the beginning of the movie, but she kind of doesn't pick a side, if we're going to be honest here. I mean, she kind of just stays in a basement for half the movie while Vision gives her googly eyes and tries to hit that. Seriously, I mean, anybody who pays attention to this movie, you really should sympathize with Vision. Vision is the one who has his head on straight. It's not about the Accords. It's not about Cap. It's not about Iron Man. It's about getting the pussy, okay? And that's what Vision is there for. And that's why we love Vision. His vision, there's nothing wrong with his vision, okay? Nothing wrong with his vision, not at all. He has his eyes on the prize. He basically spends the entire movie trying to get with Scarlet Witch. I mean, you can just tell. I mean, he's over here like, I want the world to see you as I see you. Once he gets hurt at the airport scene, he like gets down and snuggles with her, and like, he might have unintentionally fingered her or grabbed her boob or something. I don't know. I don't blame the guy. I mean, look at Elizabeth Olsen. She's fucking hot. She's amazing. I love her. But I'm just saying, Vision, he was trying to tap that the whole movie, and you guys know it as well as I do. But I love that element of the movie either way, like, the whole mature element. I love the fact that I didn't know which side to pick. You guys want to know what I think about the airport scene? Because that's the next thing I want to talk about, the airport scene. Was it awesome? Yes. Was it epic? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. Did I love it as good as I wanted to? Not that much. I mentioned this in my review on Facebook and Twitter. For those of you who don't know, is a reason why I didn't say it was like the greatest thing, since sliced bread or Family Guy, right? It's a great scene, but it's not as good as it could have been. And the reason why is because for everything awesome that happened at the end, there was also something funny or really silly that just kind of took me out of the moment, Like, the rest of the movie, it's this really mature, like, thematic thing where these are real issues. These heroes are taking it seriously. In that fight, I feel like I couldn't take the fight seriously because I feel like hardly anyone else was taking the fight seriously because there was just a lot of funny jokes and, just a lot of quippy moments, like stuff to make us laugh. And a couple of those I don't mind, especially if it comes from Spider-Man, because it makes sense that Spider-Man would be like that in a fight like this. But everything else, it just got too much for me, and it kind of took me out of it. It drained the tension from the scene, if that makes sense. And it just kind of made me feel like the action, while it's awesome and entertaining, was kind of weightless. It's kind of like the finale for Age of Ultron, which is a clear-cut rip-off of the finale of the first Avengers. Remember how many one-liners they threw at each other throughout that whole fight? Remember him saying, hey, you guys better not be playing hide the zucchini. And, Hawkeye joking with her or talking about how he's going to reformat his living room or some shit. I was just kind of like, is this an end-of-the-world situation or is this a family barbecue? Like, what are we doing here? And I just kind of felt the same thing during the airport scene. It was awesome. It's probably the best throwdown between heroes ever. I'm just saying, it could have been better, and I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't. Then, finale of the movie, we get to Cap and Iron Man, and I haven't really touched on this before. Baron Zemo. I mentioned him earlier. He's like a little weasel fucker who's kind of trying to manipulate stuff. I like his motivation at the end. You turn out that he's kind of orchestrating all of this stuff and trying to get the Avengers to fall. He said he wanted to crumble an empire, and he basically does all of this so that the Avengers can fall for revenge for what happened to his family in Sokovia, I think. I'm pretty sure, even though there's one moment in the last part, I've seen it twice now, there's one moment where he says, it's not about what happened in Sokovia. But then when he's talking to Black Panther at the end, he's like, it's totally about what happened in Sokovia. Fuck all of you. Right? So I thought that was kind of weird. And ultimately, while I appreciated his motivation and the tragedy to his character, I wasn't that invested in him overall. I think his plan was ridiculously convoluted and complicated and overly complex and didn't really make a lot of sense in some aspects. Like, why did he kill the super soldiers at the end? The Winter Soldier storyline that we heard about early in the movie. At the end, they're all in their cryosleep chambers at the abandoned super soldier factory or whatever it is. And for some reason, he kills them. And I just kept thinking, like, why did he kill them? That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I don't get it. Like, there was no need to kill them. There really was no need to kill them. They were in cryosleep. No one knew where they were. They didn't know anything about his plan. That was an abandoned building. Like, I don't know. Whatever. But either way, I just kind of feel like Zemo was kind of worthless and pointless and didn't really add anything to the movie. And I feel like the movie could have been the movie that it was even without him. I think the characters could have gotten to where they got to without him. And ultimately, his big, convoluted, connect the dots, pull the strings plan, which was very convenient and could have fallen apart at any moment, it ultimately led to them watching a security footage tape. That was his big plan. He wanted Tony and them to watch a video from 1991. I'm like, really? Yeah, sure, whatever. And really, whatever. It's yeah, we know Marvel doesn't do a good job developing their villains. I get it. That's not the point of this last part. The point of this last part is the throwdown of the century between heroes. Seriously. Iron Man and Cap and Bucky get into a big old scrap that shakes the building, destroys some parts of it, and in my opinion, this is the greatest throwdown, like one-on-one or two-on-one, however you want to call it, between two superheroes that I've ever seen. It was fucking amazing. I was on the edge of my seat for it. They're just beating the living shit out of each other over and over again. Bucky, he tried to rip Iron Man's chest out, like his arc reactor. Iron Man used that, like, arc reactor to blow his arm off. I was like, oh my god, this is really happening. Ah! And then Cap just went ham, and he got him up against the building and started beating the ever-living shit out of him. It was fucking amazing, man. It was fucking amazing. And I actually thought he was going to kill him there at the end, but he didn't. Relax. He didn't. And I feel like if the airport scene had had anything close to the emotional depth or anything like that, like the end of the scene, the end of the movie did, I would have thought it was awesome. I would have loved it. But as it happens, it didn't. So overall, I think this is a great movie. I think it's probably the best movie in the MCU so far. I loved it. I went back to watch it twice. I'll probably go back to watch it again. It's one of my favorite movies of the year so far. And I'm really excited to see where they go from here. There's a lot of interesting directions they could go. The one thing I will lament is that there weren't really a lot of big long-term ramifications or consequences. You know, the Avengers got broken out of jail at the end. Rhodey's going to walk again. Bucky's doing the same thing he was doing. He was disappeared, and now he's just disappeared in Wakanda. So I didn't really feel the stakes or the consequences. For anyone who read the comics, they're going to be disappointed, but whatever. Either way, those are my thoughts on Captain America Civil War. You guys let me know. Comment, like, share, whatever. Let me know. Did you love this movie as much as I did? Is it your favorite? What is your favorite MCU movie? I mean, is it this one? Is it Winter Soldier, The First Avengers, Iron Man 3? Hey, we can all be rebels. That's okay. And just let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you like the cape, be honest. You thought it was sexy. I know I did. You thought it was sexy. Just admit it. And either way, this is the beginning of the Superfan Show. The videos are only going to keep coming. They're only going to get better. Thanks a lot, guys. Love all of you. And as your resident superfan, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.